Hare Krishna. So we have with us one more celebrated preacher in Bhakti Vriksha from the Narsingha temple in Bangalore, His Grace Adi Deva Giridhari Prabhu. Let us find out from Prabhuji what is his material background, and then we'll quickly switch over to the Bhakti Vriksha questions. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Basically, I'm an engineer from the computer science background. I did my engineering and I was working with a software company. I worked in multiple profiles. I've been in the education industry. I've been in the software industry. Right now, I'm a full-time devotee in Sri Narasimha Giridhari Mandir here in Bangalore.
Hari Hari Jai. So nice to hear that. All right, Prabhu. So let us quickly switch over to the Bhakti Vriksha questions. How long have you been associated with Bhakti Vriksha?
Bhakti Vriksha for the past, say, 15, 18 months. That's been my association with Bhakti Vriksha as a proper, involved person in Bhakti Vriksha. But otherwise, I've known the existence of Bhakti Vriksha before.
How long have you been involved in developing your group in the community?
In different communities before this, but in Narasimha Giridhari Mandir, same, for the past 15 to 18 months.
Well, so how many groups are you handling, and what is your role here in Bhakti Vriksha preaching?
I'm a circle servant in Narasimha Giridhari Mandir. It's called as a Giridhari circle. We have names for each circle here in SNGM, and there are around 8 Bhakti Vrikshas currently operating out of Giridhari circle.
So I was told that these Bhakti Vrikshas are being conducted inside the temple premises itself, and this is something very unusual and unconventional, I must say. So how is that? I mean, could you manage that, and how is the relation with the temple of Bhakti Vriksha groups, and how the whole setup is done? Kindly elaboratedly explain the whole thing. How do you manage that?
Right from the inception of the temple, we've been having a steady crowd coming into the temple. So at one point of time, we thought that we should capitalize on the inflow of people here. So around a year back, over a year back, we started a program called as Gita Course. It's a 4-week program. It's a 4-week outreach program where we enroll people to attend for 4 weeks. Basic topics of Bhagavad Gita like Ishvara, Jiva, things like that. And once people complete 4 weeks of this program, they are moved into different groups of Bhakti Vrikshas. So this is how we've been operating here. And the Bhakti Vrikshas don't happen in the homes of these devotees. They happen within the temple premises, in the temple campus. We have the Giridhari hall, we have a Goduli hall, a dedicated training hall, and some offices. So in these places, these Bhakti Vrikshas happen during different time slots, according to the convenience of the people who come.
Oh, that's amazing. This is absolutely unconventional. Well, so how is the response from the temple? I mean, how does the temple respond to these kind of congregational groups being conducted here inside the premises, and how is the support from the temple?
The temple supports in various ways. The first thing is the premises itself. We are allowed to handle our Bhakti Vriksha groups here. The second thing is to make sure that there is a steady inflow of people into the Gita course, because that's our engine that generates people for Bhakti Vriksha. So people whoever come into the temple, they are basically given a pass for the Gita course. The Gita course program happens during the weekend. On Saturdays, we have a program which runs from 7:15 to around 8:45 in Kannada. And on Sunday evenings, we have in the English language. And we enroll people, whoever walk into the temple, we always talk to them about the Gita course program and try and enroll them. It's just some 50 rupees that we collect as a token enrollment fee. And also we give a Prabhupada's book, a small book of Prabhupada to them. and they are brought inside the Gita course program. And we have a huge database that keeps track of the progress of these people. We have close to 4,500 people in the database currently who have gone through, at least enrolled for the Gita course program. So anybody who completes 4 weeks, it need not be consecutive weeks. If 4 weeks they have attended the program, then immediately they are asked if they would like to move into an advanced program, which is actually the Bhakti Vriksha. So this is one support that we get from the temple in terms of the infrastructure, and also in terms of ensuring that people are steadily coming into the temple, into the Gita course. The second is in terms of making the temple and the temple activities itself more visible to people in and around this region. So we have a lot of festivals, periodic festivals, monthly festivals, 3 actually, I should be precise. So every second Saturday, the second Saturday of every month, we have something called as Narasimha Abhishek. We have a Lakshmi Narasimha deity here. We do a full-fledged standard ISKCON Abhishek, Panchamrita, Panchagavya Snana, Falodaka, all those standard Abhishek Upacharas are offered. So that attracts a lot of people. During that time, we get opportunity to talk to people about Bhakti Vriksha and Gita course especially. So we do that. Then on the Swati Nakshatra day, every month, we conduct a yajna, a homa, a Narsimha homa, and we have Navanarsimha deities here. So a simple Abhishek is performed for Navanarsimha Vigrahas on Swati Nakshatra day. On the that's called a Swati Utsav. And the last Sunday of every month, we have a program called as Kirtan Mela. So it's called Festival of Kirtans here. It's the standard ISKCON Kirtan Mela. So we start at 6 o'clock, go on till around 9:30 in the night. It's non-stop, continuous Kirtan. We invite celebrity Kirtaniyas like Haripad Prabhu or Shabda Hari Prabhu to come and participate in the Kirtan Mela. Or Rangaraj Prabhu, different devotees come every month. And this is another program that attracts a lot of common people. We do a lot of promotions for all these 3 events. So that's the second support that we get from the temple. The third is in terms of prasadam. His Grace Varada Krishna Prabhu has been very, very kind. Anybody who walks into the temple gets a proper meal. And people who attend Gita course and the devotees who attend Bhakti Vriksha, they are all served proper prasadam, dinner prasadam once their program is over. So these are some of the things that I can think of, apart from the operational and administrative support that is provided by devotees in the temple.
Amazing. Yes, Prabhu. So please tell me, can you describe how the relationships between the devotees are in your group?
It's a fairly new setup, the Giridhari Circle. So right now what we are trying to do is basically build relationship between the group leader and the group members. So some of the groups are fairly old, like two Bhakti Vrikshas are there that are fairly old. They gather together, we have programs together, we even conducted a Vyuha program. So it's gradually growing, but most of the other groups are fairly new. So right now we are focusing on building the relationship between the group leader and the members.
What is the mood of leadership in Bhakti Vriksha?
The mood of the Bhakti Vriksha leaders should be actually as a servant, to serve the members in the group. Though they are called as group leaders, that's not something which is very appropriate in terms of the execution of the Bhakti Vriksha program itself. They should always be in the mood of serving, in terms of providing more and more support to the group members and being inspirational by their personal sadhana and also in their behavior, and also to constantly upgrade them in terms of the understanding the nuances of the Krishna conscious philosophy. So all these things I think would inspire the group members more and more.
Well, so how do you think can we convince others to take up Bhakti Vriksha preaching?
I think Bhakti Vriksha doesn't need any kind of, promotion, because in itself is a very, very attractive and structured program. Many times, many a times, I've seen in some other centers also, some casual preaching happens, like say through the Sunday Bhagavatam class or the Sunday feast, or word of mouth preaching happens. But Bhakti Vriksha gives an opportunity for devotees in the congregation or even in the temple to do a structured, sustained and systematic preaching program, where they don't have to really worry about how to systematize the operation of the entire program, whatever preaching program they have conceived of in their local areas. So I think Bhakti Vriksha gives that opportunity of already having great amount of structure and systems in place. It's just like the plug and play of what we know in the Windows world. So we just download whatever operatives that are there available and then just use them. There are standard manuals available. There are standard mechanisms by which we can operate. The course material is already ready. It's just that we have to understand the details of how to function, and so I think it's a ready-made thing which is on the platter for people. So I don't think there is too much of promotion needed for Bhakti Vriksha.
Very well described, Prabhuji. So now my next question is, how much beneficial is Bhakti Vriksha to the newly joined devotees?
Because Bhakti Vriksha takes the newly joined devotees through a systematic manner, where the basic concepts are introduced in the beginning, and then gradually the intensity of the concepts are developed, and it is also connected to the Shiksha program. So that gives the Bhakti Vriksha members some amount of stability in their growth. There is periodicity in the manner in which they grow. There is supervision. It's also monitored. It is not that they're just left in the lurch to gradually develop on their own. And also, I think there is not too much of pressure. It is not that somebody has to move from one Shiksha level to another within, say, 6 months or 8 months or something. People are allowed to graduate on their own, at their own pace. Somebody wants to, continue the same cycle of Bhakti Vriksha for 1.5 more years, it is probably left to them. So all these things, I think, give a fair amount of leeway to the individual Bhakti Vriksha members to grow at their own pace. At the same time, if the leader is inspiring and the group is inspirational, there are extremely powerful preaching programs that involve the group members, then I think naturally it's a natural process. So on their own, there will be probably growth and development for the group members.
So Prabhuji, how fast do the devotees progress in Bhakti Vriksha?
From my experience, I've seen that the devotees do take up to Krishna consciousness pretty quickly, because from the structure that we have in terms of introducing people through the Gita course, these are already people who want to know about the Bhagavad Gita. These are interested people. So once they see that there is authenticity to the whole process, then people do take up to Krishna consciousness pretty quickly. There is always some leakage, some leave the process midway, but then generally what we have seen is devotees take to coming to Krishna consciousness pretty quickly. The standard of chanting 16 rounds or even taking shelter or moving up the Shiksha levels do happen fairly quick.
Well, what are the scopes for a devotee who has completed Bhakti Vriksha? What next?
The Bhakti Vriksha offers several levels of engagement for the group members who come. They need not always remain in the group membership level. If they show potential, of course, there is always service opportunity in the temple. That's always there. But apart from that, in Bhakti Vriksha, they can move to the level of, say, a group leader. They can lead a group. Or if they are dynamic enough, they have developed multiple groups on their own, then they can become sector servants or circle servants. So, these are opportunities that are there for group members to develop and have a sense of accomplishment every now and then.
Well, how is the mood of a devotee towards the temple services who has undertaken Bhakti Vriksha?
In our temple, we have seen that the congregation is pretty hands-on in terms of temple services. We have devotees from the congregation who are full-time pujaris here. They, at the beck and call of the temple head priest, they do come and offer their services. There are Matajis who are regularly offering their services for garland making sevas or the Rajbhog kitchen in the afternoon. So these are some of the services that they do. And when festivals come, everybody get their hands wet in terms of executing the various services, because our festivals are pretty large in terms of, say, Janmashtami, we do it in multiple places. This year we did in 5 different places, 5 different localities. So different circles of the Bhakti Vriksha in our temple, they took up the responsibility of executing in their nearby regions. So that was as far as Janmashtami was concerned. We have Brahmotsav, which is a 4-day affair. This was the first year that we had Brahmotsav. And from the next year, probably the number of days would increase. So that is also a very big festival. We have Vaikunta Ekadashi, we have Govardhan Puja. So there are a lot of service opportunities in the temple, apart from the other smaller Vaishnava festivals that we generally do.
Well, are there any limitations in terms of gender or age or material qualification or the social status of the member of Bhakti Vriksha?
No, I think going by our philosophy of Pandita Samadarshinaha, I don't think Bhakti Vriksha really discriminates based on any of the external considerations like, say, age or gender. Anybody is welcome. In some of our Bhakti Vrikshas, we even do have children. And people who are 70 years old in the same group. We do have Bhakti Vriksha for the youth also. We have separate groups operating for the Vaishnavis, the young girls, and also for the ISKCON Youth Forum boys. We have our own bases where boys stay and practice Krishna consciousness. And apart from that, the Bhakti Vriksha programs are incorporated in these places. So the Vaishnavis also come here on Sundays. They engage in temple services and have the Bhakti Vriksha programs also for them.
How effective are the Siksha levels and what are the benefits?
The Shiksha levels give, again, like I mentioned earlier, a sense of accomplishment in terms of spiritual progress, in terms of their surrender, in terms of their improvement in the practices of Krishna consciousness. It does give them a sense of accomplishment, and they are pretty effective because just like the initiation vows that are taken gives a lot of a sense of responsibility and a sense of surrender. So these Shiksha levels also provide the same kind of same sense, because they accept the Shiksha certificates in front of the deities, in front of Srila Prabhupada, in front of all the Vaishnavas. So it becomes more of a moral obligation, a spiritual obligation for them, rather than just a ceremony or an occurrence in their lives.
How do you find the structure of, or rather the design structure of weekly program in Bhakti Vriksha?
If you are talking about the structure of the program on a weekly basis, I think it has a fair mix of everything. Sometimes when we have only philosophical discussions, some people may not be too much philosophically inclined, but because it starts off with an icebreaker where we are just engaging in casual talk, and then go into kirtan. There is kirtan, and then after that japa. There is an aspect of meditation to that, and then comes the philosophy, and at the end we do a little discussion on why preaching is very important, and conclude with prasadam. So I think it has a mix of all the wonderful elements of Krishna consciousness, like prasadam, the holy name, the philosophy, all of these things are there. So I think it is neatly packaged.
Well, it seems that though you have not spent a lot of years in Bhakti Vriksha preaching, but still I would like to ask you, how effective is Bhakti Vriksha in expansion and multiplication?
I can talk in terms of the functioning that we have here, because we have an engine that constantly keeps generating entry into Bhakti Vriksha, I think we are not up to speed. That's what I have to say, because there are a lot of people who are ready to enter into Bhakti Vriksha groups, but we don't have sufficient leaders who can handle these Bhakti Vrikshas. So if we had the leaders, then probably we would be having 15 or 20 Bhakti Vrikshas by now. In 1.5 years, we could have accomplished that much. But in terms of scope and in terms of expansion, I think the sky is a limit. We can double or quadruple or triple or quadruple in a year. That is very much possible in Bhakti Vriksha.
Interesting. So now I go to some personal questions. What was the biggest personal challenge for you to take leadership in Bhakti Vriksha?
I think my lack of awareness of how Bhakti Vriksha functions, I would say that was the biggest challenge. But then with the help of devotees here, like we had a lot of opportunity to interact very closely with His Grace Vijay Venugopal Prabhu and Her Grace Prema Padmini Mataji. They took us through training workshops to understand how Bhakti Vriksha functions, what are the intricacies in terms, the nuances of the functioning of Bhakti Vriksha. And also, I took some personal time off and read the Bhakti Vriksha manual, and so that really helped me a lot in understanding and come up to speed to be able to handle a circle.
How your involvement affected your family? What was their reaction?
I think there was not so much of a problem in terms of my family, because my wife and child are not here in Bangalore with me. So they stay in Mayapur. My daughter studies there, so my wife is also there. So in that sense, I'm engaged here full time and she is engaged full time there. So there has not been much of a discrepancy or a clash in terms of executing our individual services.
Oh, you're lucky. Well, not everyone is. So what is the one biggest personal realization that you gained doing this service?
My biggest personal realization would be that there is great joy in sharing the signs of Krishna consciousness, the aspects of Krishna consciousness as presented by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Like Prabhupada always mentioned, preaching is the essence. So the essence of all the activities in ISKCON as an organization should somehow boil down to preaching. So I think that gives a great sense of satisfaction one way. The other is it also helps me to get better and better in terms of matching my achar and prachar. Many a times I do, when I introspect, I see that I speak something and I do something else, which is not what I am speaking. So this, the Bhakti Vriksha program helps me to tie together my achar and prachar. So I would say that that has also been a great contribution to me personally.
Oh, that was amazing realization. All right, please share at least one story or an anecdote of a real transformation that happened in one of your Bhakti Vriksha members.
This devotee learned in the Bhakti Vriksha program. There is this devotee in one of our Bhakti Vriksha groups, and recently, maybe 10-15 days back, he had a baby girl. His wife delivered a baby girl. And 9 days later, the child passed away due to some complication in the heart. And yesterday, he had come to the temple just to have darshan of the deities with his wife. I was very shocked to hear about this. So we were asking him how his wife has been holding up, how he has taken this whole experience. So he said it's been pretty difficult for his wife, but somehow he has been able to console himself, because just before this incident happened, we were handling in the Bhakti Vriksha discussions, we were handling the Dehinosmin Yata Dehe part and how the body transfers from the soul transfers from one body to another, and these aspects were being covered in the sessions. So he said, I did go back and read that portion from the Bhagavad Gita, and it really helped me a lot to stabilize myself and also try and console my wife as well. He said it really did help me a lot to console myself, to think that, okay, the child probably, according to the karma of the child had to undergo this kind of a tribulation, and we have to undergo this tribulation because of our own past deeds, whatever we have performed. So I can say that's something that immediately comes to my mind, that somebody attending the Bhakti Vriksha program was really able to apply the principles that are taught there, in a practical sense, and at a time when people would have given into lamentation and sorrow and things like that. So I think that's an example that I can cite.
Oh, that's almost a transformation. Yes, very much. So he is out of the common worldly lamentation because of the Bhakti Vriksha preaching. That's excellent. So overall, we enjoyed this interview a lot with you, Prabhuji, and I'm sure the viewers will get a lot of experienced nectar out of your talks, and we all wish you good luck for your future Bhakti Vriksha preaching, and thank you very much for your valuable time. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.